Hi there, Guy Randall from Drums on Demand here. I want to take a few minutes to show you how to install and use our new uh, Reason refills. I'm going to be working with our solid rock refill, but this same holds true for any of the other in our series. So first you want to have, I'm assuming you know how to use Reason. We're not going to really get into that. I'm just going to specifically deal with how we've set up our product to be used in Reason. So you want to have Reason open. You want to have downloaded our the product and installed it somewhere on your hard disk, and you'll end up with just a regular looking Reason refill file. Here it is, and I'm getting to it. You want to get to it from the Open File menu in Reason, because what you're going to be doing is opening Reason songs, which is how we've got our stuff laid out in here. So I go to my Drums on Demand, Solid Rock Refill. Here's some info. I open the refill, and I go to the song set templates, and I want to open this folder. And then there's a demo song and kind of a template to start with laid out for each one of our song sets. Now, what a song set is, it's a collection of loops all in the same tempo. Basically a song set is a song, okay? And when we get it open here, you'll see how it's used. So let's go ahead and open 105 BPM, no limits. Okay, I open it, and that's a Reason song that comes pre-formatted and loaded with all. You can see as you open it up, you'll see a combinator, a whole bunch of different processing effects, and a whole chunk of Dr. Octo Rex players, and then finally at the end there's an NNXT sample instrument. Now what we've done is taken our loops and preloaded them into each one of these Dr. Rex players. There's a Dr. Octo Rex for each section of the song. So the song's divided up, and our loops are divided up into intro, you can see over here on the left, intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, and then a kind of a miscellaneous section with fills, etc. And I'll show you how it works really quick. So say I want to build a song. Now, to audition the song sets and decide which one you want to work with, there are a couple of ways you can do it. You can either just open each one of these and you hit play, and it'll play through all the loops. If you look at the Dr. Rex, as it plays down in the tracks window, you can see the loops highlighted in the Rex player. So that's one way you can audition the song and the loops. Another quick way to audition songs and just to figure out which song set you want to work with, and this is what I do quite a bit, is I just go to the Drums on Demand website, to that catalog page for whatever volume it is, and you can quickly access the actual our previews on that site, so you can decide, well, is this the groove that I want to work with? So anyway, I've decided that whatever I'm working with, this 105 BPM fits my style and my groove. So normally a song is built with an intro, verse, chorus, etc., etc. And here's how you quickly do it. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to say, let's quickly build an 8-bar bridge. I mean an 8-bar verse. Okay, let's assume we have built our intro already. And I'm going to start with the verse just because intros are less interesting than verses generally. And there's a couple of different ways you can choose the loops that you use here in the track. You can see these blocks of MIDI info. Each one of these represents a MIDI command that tells the Dr. Rex player to play whichever slot number, and there's a total of 8. And each one of those has a loop preloaded in it. Now, if you're in this mode with the pointer, it's really cool because here I go like this, and I get a whole list of that Rex player, and these are the loops that are loaded in it. Pretty easy to see what's going on. Now let's make this this loop right here, just because it'll be better to listen to. Let's make this a fill that leads into a verse. Okay, so that's a nice fill. And then generally after a fill, you'll want to have a crash. So the first loop in our verse wants to be a crash, if we want it to sound good. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose verse, and you can see how our naming system works. You got verse, and then you've got the what it is. So verse here. So we want to have a verse crash. So I'm going to go verse crash, choose that. This other stuff, verse, the verse alt, those are alternate versions of the verse groove, and then verse fill. And then the stuff afterwards, all the numerals afterwards, are unfortunate things we had to add in order that Reason wouldn't get confused as to which loops belong where. So if you're used to using our regular drums on demand, just drag and drop onto a track, you won't be used to seeing some of this additional numerical stuff. But the important thing to look at is the first part of the loop. So I'm going to choose verse crash. This is probably more information than you wanted to know. So I'm going to go from the fill into the verse. Crash. That sounds real natural. Now, so for the next couple of bars, I'm just going to go to our straight ahead verse groove, which is loop number 1. And then I'm going to choose it again, loop number 1. And now there are other ways to, if you're just starting from scratch, let's address this for a minute. You can also choose the pencil tool, and right here you can choose whichever loop you want. This one isn't as smooth because it doesn't tell you actually which loop you're painting, but you can do that, and then you can just draw on a track the loops that you want. So if you wanted 50 bars of the same loop, that's a quick way to do it. So anyway, back to this other mode, which is my favorite mode to work in. So I've got verse.crash, verse, and then I want a little bit of a variation halfway through the verse. Verse loop, let's go verse dot alt. Let's see what alt 2 sounds like. Some alts, let's just hear this one. Yeah, that's an alt that's almost like a fill. So it makes for a perfect alt to put halfway through the verse, because lots of times a verse has this little peak of emotion halfway through. So I'm going to put that one here. So we got crash, regular verse, verse alt that has a little bit of energy at the end of the bar, and then I'm going to go verse crash here again halfway through. And sometimes in our song sets you'll find 2 different verse crashes, and you could, if there was a verse crash too, you could use that for variation. So, and then I'm going to go verse alt. So that's a different kind of alt. That's just a little more of a groove. Let's hear it. Yeah, it's got a little drag roll in the middle of it, which is kind of cool. So let's do that one, and then just for variety, I think we've got a verse alt 3. Yeah, let's hear that. That's a pretty straight ahead one. It's a lot more just like our main verse. And then for the end, let's just choose a verse fill, and let's see what. That one's not a very exciting fill, is it? Let's get this one. Go back here. Great. Okay, so there's a verse, 8 bars of a verse, and then I'm moving on to the chorus. So my first again would want to. Oh, this is a pre, because this song has a pre. So let's assume we're moving into the pre here. So my first loop is going to be pre-ride crash, just to make things work well. Let's hear that. From the fill, crash. Okay, into the pre. And then you'd go on and do the same thing with the pre. If you wanted to have a pre, if you don't want to have a pre, you can go directly into the chorus. So there you go. That's how you quickly build build up a song with our loops here in Reason. Now let me quickly address the rack section. You can see. Oh yeah. While we're on this rack section, I forgot to talk about the NNXT. Now here's the really cool thing. If you go down to the bottom here in our pre-programmed demo song. Now if you listen all the way through the demo song, you can hear all the loops that are available to you to work with. And that could be a way to do it. Just listen all the way through one time and make notes of the things that you like. Now here, the very bottom track is an actual MIDI notes track that just has a generic groove in it, but it's there to demo so you can hear the sounds of this NNXT kit, which matches the same drum sounds we used in the loops. In other words, the live kit we used to create the loops, we made a sample NNXT kit out of it as well. So you've got a full-fledged MIDI kit to work with down here on this bottom track. Now let's go take a quick look at the Combinator and Racks here. I'm going to pull this down and just press play and get this so we can see the rack. Let's mostly get this out of the way. So what we've got happening here with the Combinator, I gotta move this so we can see what's going on, is I've got a bunch of presets that I've made in here just if you don't want to mess with tweaking stuff. So just choose those to your, to get quick things. I'm going to go back to the basic one. And then you can also tweak just overall sound. It's just kind of driving it harder with the attitude. This is smashing it, really messing it up with the damage. And reverb, delay, and a couple of different just overall EQ curve presets. What we've got going is all the Dr. Octo Rexes go into these couple of spiders, and then through the pulverizer into equalizer into the mixer, or I guess the equalizer is probably after the mixer, but into the mixer, and then we've got these couple of other kind of ambience-based devices that are in the mixer. Let me show you that. They're actually send and receive kind of effects, whereas the pulverizer is an inline thing. So if you want to get into the programming and the signal routing of what's going on, of course, you can go back and see how I've routed everything together and tweak it to your heart's content. Each one of these devices has got some presets that I've built up to kind of help you get different stuff, different sounds, and you can either just go through the Combinator, or you can go down and obviously do things in the devices themselves. So there you go. The possibilities are endless. And then after you've built a track, there are a couple different ways you can do it. You can start off with the drum track just with this template. Be sure to do a save as. It'll prompt you to do that. And then you can add other instrument tracks to it. If you already have a tune that you're going to add, you want to add drums to the tune that you already have, then you can go ahead and copy. You can build something up and then copy it in. Or you can copy the basic template in and build it up. And the way you do that is you just select all your tracks. You can either do it here by selecting the tracks, or you can do it here by selecting the devices, and then you use the copy devices and tracks. And be sure to select, if you want the whole shebang, select all the way up the rack so you get everything, including the routing into the mixer. If you just select, the Dr. Octos, you'll see it, but you won't hear it because it's all the way Reason works. It's all part of the setup. If you don't select and copy the Combinator and the mixer channels and stuff, it won't make it all the way into your tune so that you can hear it. You'll have to reroute all that stuff. So there you go. Enjoy, and talk to you next time.